it's me.
And it's me. Now, last month, Sir Captain Tom Moore died aged 100, and he'll be remembered forever as someone who did amazing things, raising loads and loads of money for the NHS during COVID last year. And there are just some people, aren't there, who leave such amazing legacies during their lifetime that people will always remember them forever. Gemma's going to tell us about another person who's left an amazing legacy.
Now, Tim Stapleford is someone that you may know or may have heard of. Personally, I knew him because he was my dad, but also I worked with him on all the projects and things that he was doing in the local area. And back when he was alive, he was recognised for the stuff he was doing. He received the Police Award for his community service. And when he died, the community got together and they did fundraisers, and they actually raised enough money to make a bench, which is now sitting in the Jenny Lane Park area where he would serve and do all his community work. And that was an amazing thing. That was really unexpected and just really lovely for the people in the area to show that they were grateful and thankful, and that they would remember the stuff that he had done even when he was gone and wasn't doing it anymore. But what about people like us? I don't expect to get a bench when I die. Do you expect that? I don't know. That's a big thing. So what's going to happen to us, the ones of us who aren't going out there and doing crazy open community service things? What about the ones of us who are fighting spiritually in a really quiet way, and maybe the stuff that we're doing to serve God and be helpful and help the world is actually just these smaller, quieter details? What happens to us?
Well, the first thing is that the Bible is really realistic about the fact that most of us won't be remembered for generations to come. There's a book called Ecclesiastes, and it says this in the first chapter: no one remembers the former generations, and even those yet to come will not be remembered by those who follow them. Ecclesiastes also talks about the fact that if you're trying to gain wealth or other things to be remembered or to be important, then it's pointless, because when you die, you can't take any of those things with you. And many people think Ecclesiastes is a sad or depressing book, but it's just realistic about the fact that it is pointless to live our lives just striving to be remembered, just striving to gain importance.
Hebrews chapter 11 is a really great passage for today's topic, and it's really interesting to me because when the memorial bench was being installed, I had the opportunity to choose the words that were going to be engraved in it, and the words that I chose were Tim Stapleford, vision, faith, action. And I chose those because I thought they really summed up all the work that he had done, starting off with the vision from God to do with where he wanted the work that he was going to do to go, what was the aim of that, and then using faith in every single action that he did to make sure that everything he was doing was for God. So it's really interesting. I've never noticed this before, but chapter 11, the subtitle is Faith in Action. So that's really interesting, and what's really great about this passage is that it goes through loads of names of people in the Bible that I'm sure you will recognise, and every single new paragraph starts with this: by faith we, by faith Abel, by faith Enoch, by faith Noah, by faith Abraham, by faith Isaac, by faith Jacob, by faith Joseph, by faith Moses, by faith the people. And the list goes on, because something that's so memorable and recognisable about these people and what they did is their faith. That is what speaks. That is what is really important to include in the Bible so that we can learn from them. And we don't have time to go through all these people today, but there's also people like David and the prophets that aren't even mentioned. So we might not all be remembered, but God calls us to have faith in him. And it just reminds me of the amazing phrase, which is, live as though you're living for an audience of one, which just means everything that you do, don't do it so that other people will recognise it and affirm it and say, wow, that's really great. Do it for an audience of one, that one being God. Everything you do it as though he's the only one watching, as though he's the only one that matters. His opinion, his judgment is such a good way to just humble yourself and draw yourself back in. Just center yourself on God and remember what we're actually here for. We're not here to create some big legacy on earth, because earth is not going to be around forever. God is going to be around forever, and God is what matters. He is the ultimate judge, so let's live for that. And as we mentioned about living for an audience of one, if we go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, it's actually called living to please God. So look at that. And if we just zone in on verses 11 and 12, it says, make it your ambition to lead a quiet life. You should mind your own business and work with your hands just as we told you, so that your daily life may win the respect of outsiders, so that you will not be dependent on anybody. So it's saying, it's written here in the Bible, that it's really honourable to live a quiet life, and God will still use that to impact people. God delights in our life, whether it's really crazy and loud and bold, or when it's bold in its quietness. That's absolutely amazing. God delights in it. It pleases God, and He will use that. The Spirit will use all of it.
So we know that the chances are we won't be remembered forever, and we know that actually the only person we're trying to please is the audience of one, God. But we might still be thinking, okay, that's all good, but I still need to be known. As a human, I still need people to know me and remember me and care about me. Well, the good news for us is that God, the only person we really need to remember us and to know us, He does. See, He told the prophet Jeremiah that before you were even formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. God knew him and remembered him even before he was born. Now, to see what it looks like for God to know and remember us, we can look at God the Son, Jesus. Now, Jesus, when he was speaking about his followers, who he called his sheep, he said this in John chapter 10. He said, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me." So it's by his voice that his followers know him, and he knows them too. Now, the greatest example I know of this is in John chapter 20. Jesus has just risen from the dead, but his disciples don't know this yet. All they know is that his tomb is empty. And one of his followers, Mary, she's by the tomb, and she sees Jesus and thinks that he's the gardener. She doesn't recognise him. And it's only when he says her name, Mary. And when he says her name, she recognises him straight away. She knows who it is by the way he personally speaks to her, by his voice. See, the only person we really need to know and remember us is Jesus. And we are truly remembered and known forever by Jesus.
So there you go. We hope that you have enjoyed this video, and now it's very much over to you to think about the things that God might have been pointing out to you through this video, and how you're actually specifically going to apply that into your life. How is the message of today going to impact the things that you do and the way that you minister and witness to your friends and people around you? So definitely be thinking about that, and also don't forget to check out the description, because there will be a song and a prayer activity for you to check out, and we will see you next time. Bye.